We're 2 weeks before Shavuot. It's coming, Shavuot is 2 weeks from today, actually. And it's going to start on Shabbos, 3-day Yom Tif. Shavuot is Mitzvah Shabbos this year. So it's a great year to take a good Shabbos nap and get your Menucha Shabbos in. And then you happen to be wide awake on Mitzvah Shabbos at the Shavuot night that you could stay up and learn.
Hashem created on Shabbos, you know. It's not 6 days to create the world, it was 7. He created Menucha.
Okay, so we have Menucha on Shabbos. So let's talk about preparing for Matan Torah. And one of my Rabbi, Rav Kolevsky in Baltimore, once I remember him, I don't remember the part that he said with this, but he said that the Iker Achana for Matan Torah is Sfiras HaOmer. You're counting Sfiras HaOmer. And Sfiras HaOmer, as like the Sefer Chinuch says, is getting countdown to getting the Torah. Count up, count down. But it's showing our excitement for getting the Torah. So the waiting and the anticipation is itself the Hachana for Matan Torah. When we're getting the way we're getting ready for Matan Torah is we're not forgetting the Torah is coming. The Torah is coming. It's coming. Because for 7 weeks we're focused on the goal that we're getting ready. We're excited. The greatest gift that HaKadosh Baruch Hu ever gave us, given to mankind, the Torah. That's our Hachana. That's our preparation for Matan Torah. It's the excitement for Matan Torah. So, of course, coming along with that is to stop to think about why is it such a great gift? What's so special that Hashem gave us the Torah, and for us to spend time thinking about the greatness of the gift of the Torah. So I want to just make a small akdama. Mrs. Bendel sent my wife a video this week, and a short video, and someone else sent it to her also, and she shared it with me. And I feel like it brings to light something that we've been learning about recently, and it's connected to everything that we learn about. And the video, maybe some of you saw it. It was a social experiment with a fellow going over to a mother watching her kid in the park playing in a playground, and the fellow is holding a little puppy, and he says to the mother, "How often do you tell your kid not to speak to strangers?" And usually the mother says, "Every single day." And the fellow says, "All right, well, I'm part of this experiment, and if I go over to your kid right now and start speaking to him with my puppy, will he speak to me? Will he talk to me? Or will he run back to his mommy?" And she says, "I hope he'll run back to his mother." And what happens is that she gives him permission to go over, and it shows like 3 or 4 times where he walked over to the kid and with the puppy, and within a matter of 30 seconds or 60 seconds, whatever it was, it shows him walking off with the kid, holding the kid's hands, and walking out of the park to go show him the rest of the puppies that he has somewhere else. And the mothers were devastated that here they are telling their kids not to speak to strangers, and the kid just not only spoke to a stranger, walked off with a stranger, holding their hand.
But she didn't say dogs, she only said people.
He's used the puppies as a bait. They love puppies. Yeah, you love puppies. Yeah, you want to see where I have more puppies? Come, I'll show you more puppies. And then they're on their way. So, obviously it's an alarm to parents to be careful. But for us, I think that one of the lessons that it brings to home is that the child is not a bad child. Obviously, the mother did tell him, and it's bringing out a point that the kid somehow isn't, that message that the kid heard isn't stopping the kid from walking off with a stranger. If it has the right thing distracting him and making him interested, it's just not stopping him. So what could you do? Maybe you could show your kid this video. I don't know what you could do, but that's a different discussion, what you could do to protect a kid. But when we learn the Torah all the time, there's a distance between what we learn, and it's true we learned it. And yes, we know it, and we heard it, and it's not that we didn't learn or we didn't hear, but then when temptation comes, or when the situation arises, So the seichel, in the kid's case, didn't use his seichel at all. It wasn't thinking. It's just totally distracted, totally interested, and the enticement was what he was focused on, and not the seichel. So what is it that we can do that our seichel should actually overcome and govern our actions? And one of the things that we learned from Yisrael Salanter is that we could try to make things as practical as we can. When we're learning, we could try to see what is it that's being told here, how does it apply to me, what would this mean in a more practical sense, to broaden it, to make it that it's more realistic. And you find great paiskim that when they learned not just in terms of overcoming the Yetzer Hara, but when they learned the Gemara, they said, okay, this is what the case of the Gemara says, but now what would that mean nowadays? What would be instead of the fire? What would be this mechanism that would be in place, and what would be the case of that we could apply this today to, and in my own life. So that's something, and that's always taking the Torah and making it relevant to us by not changing the Torah. It's making it relevant to us. Doesn't mean, okay, I'm taking the Torah and saying that that's what it said, but I'm a little different. So it's just application, and it's application, and that application is what's going to make it, hopefully, that when the little puppy comes along and with the stranger, we're going to say, hey, this situation is familiar. I know this situation. No, I don't go with the puppy. But if we never picture the situation before, and it's just like, oh, what's the connection between what I learned yesterday and between this situation? There's no connection. When a person studies Torah and says, now let me think about my own life, or you can start the other way. Let me think about my own life, and then see, oh, look, this is what I'm doing, and what does the Torah say? Bridging it, that it could become that it's real, and that's how the Torah could be a gift and speak to every single one of us. Okay, that's.
Say, but we don't change things.
I'm saying that we're taking the Torah. The Torah was given a couple thousand years ago, and we're more. And
we don't change anything.
We're not when we're doing this exercise of making it more practical and envisioning it to us in our modern day terminologies and in our own life. It's not that we're changing the Torah. We're just taking what we learned and we're applying it. What would it look in my situation, right? My mommy never told me not to go with a stranger with a puppy, right? But or the Torah didn't speak about the movie, the internet, whatever. And therefore, we have to take what the Torah said and apply it to the modern day example.
Who set up So we shouldn't change that either.
No, we shouldn't change the tefillah either.
You shouldn't say Hallel on Yom Ha'atzmaut.
We're not speaking about Chazal or Misakin. Hallel's a minhag. Hallel's a minhag when we say. Anyway, I'm not going into that. But what? Let them
speak. Let Rabbi speak.
What we definitely shouldn't do is we shouldn't use the Torah for springboard, but we should actually look into it and see what it's teaching us, and make that see what we could take out of it and relevant in our own lives. So this Friday night, I don't know, there was such a widely participated in thing, but there was something called Shabbos across Toronto, and anyway, so we had a family over that I wanted to have the family over for a while because I know the son from NCSY, and we wanted to have the parents over also. So we had the family over, and it came. There was another boy there that comes from a similar background, a Russian background, and Russian-Israeli background, and this boy is 21 years old, and he already very on an amazing path to growth and He had a bris milah last year, and started keeping Shabbos. And a very, very inspiring fellow. And afterwards, when it's time for after benching, it's pretty late, and I say, okay, now it's time to count Sfiras Omer. We're going to count the Omer, and he says, what? Don't we also have to say Shema, because we said Shema before it got dark, so we have to say Shema before. So I said, yeah, absolutely, you're right. Let's take out a siddur, let's say Shema, and he found this was his highlight of the meal, because he was able to help the fellow sitting next to him, who was very clueless, to say Shema, and it was very clear that this fellow hasn't said Shema so many times in his life, and this was like something very special that he helped the other fellow sitting next to him say Shema. But to me, as I'm saying Shema, and I'm just thinking about the words that we say twice a day. We say Shema 2 times a day, 3 times a day, and if you sing Shema with your kids, and then it's the 4th time, and if there's different levels of kids going to sleep at different times, and you're saying it 5 times, but we think about the words, and when we say in Kriya Shema, I'm just thinking, here's a secular fellow sitting with me, and you're trying to think, how could we show that the Torah tells us, how to live our life, and is it demanding of us to live a certain lifestyle? And then it's right there in the Psukim. And then it speaks about Liman HaTorah, teach it to your children, you should speak about this. He doesn't know the Rashi, he doesn't maybe know what the Psukim are talking about. That you should speak about the Torah all the time. Right? And it's just amazing that we could learn the Torah, and then thinking about what it really means is 2 different things, and that's basically right out in the Torah. Kodesh Baruch Hu tells us what it's all about, and people think they could have the Torah and they could Shema. Who knows Shema? But what does it say in the Shema? Right? It doesn't just say the first pasuk, and it goes to the way to come to love HaKadosh Baruch Hu is through studying His ways, and the Alav Avecha, to teach it to your children, have it sharp in your mouth. We should learn Kriya Shema. But I want to learn with you today something which I think is a good preparation for Matan Torah, and it's not my own idea, because Chazal gave it to us that before Shavuot comes around, we learn Parashas Bahar and B'chukaisai, and so we have the Chumashim. We learn a little bit of the B'chukaisai in the beginning about the bracha and the klala and appreciation for learning Torah, the centrality of that in our lives. So, someone want to announce what page it's on? I don't know what. Yeah.
What are we looking at?
Parashas B'chukaisai, Sefer Vayikra. Here is this Baal Leischa, so we're going further. Vayikra.
This one's 708.
Okay, 708.
Oh.
Hurry up before inflation.
Yeah.
Okay. First pasuk in the parasha, in Mechukaisai Teilechu, that's Mitzvaisai Tishmiru V'Asisem Maisam. Maybe you know that this parasha is the parasha that the beginning of it speaks about the brachas that HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives Klal Yisrael for keeping the Torah, and then after the first chapter, it speaks about the klalos that HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives curses and that will fall the Jewish people when we don't keep the Torah, and that's the end of Sefer Vayikra. Is that right? That's the last parasha in Sefer Vayikra. So
yeah, I think that's about by Midah.
Okay, so let's learn a few psukim here from this week's parasha. In the Chukaisai Teilechu, if with my statutes you go, that's Mitzvaisai Tishmiru, and my mitzvahs you guard, V'asisem Maisam, and you perform them. So there's 3 different types of mitzvahs here. It's talked about chukais and mitzvahs, right? And then you do the mitzvahs and you keep them, you guard them and then you keep them. So we guard ourselves from doing negative transgressions, and we do perform the mitzvahs aseh. But what does it mean in mechukaisai telechu, that you go with my statutes? How do you go with my statutes? So Rashi, famous Rashi, the first Rashi in the parsha, in mechukaisai telechu, yachol ze kiyom mitzvahs. You would think that this is referring to performance of the mitzvahs, keeping the mitzvahs. That's what you would think. If you read, the first thing that would come to mind would be, oh, what does it mean to go with the statutes of Hashem? It means to adhere to the commandments. Right? The Gaimer means like etc. So when it says in the end of the pasuk that it says about keeping the mitzvahs, so Harekiyam mitzvahs amor. So then the pasuk already spoke about keeping the mitzvahs. Hamani mikayim in the chukaisai telechu. What does the beginning of the pasuk mean? In the chukaisai telechu, shetiyu amelim b'Torah. That you should be toiling, you should toil in learning, study of Torah. Okay, so this is the Torah saying three things here. Two or three things. One is keeping the mitzvahs, and one is the toil amelos of Torah. Now, Rashi continues, Ves mitzvahsai tishmeru. What does it mean now to guard the mitzvahs? Because Rashi is learning that it's a connection, that vav achibor ves mitzvahsai tishmeru. So Rashi says that it's a connection. What type of limud Torah and amelos in Torah should we have? Have amelim b'Torah al menas lishmar ulukayim. When we study Torah, it has to be not just with the intention of understanding the Torah, knowing what it says, but amanas, on condition, meaning that with the intention that when I study it, I will keep it and I will perform it. You learn them, and you learn them, and then you guard them. And I just want to add in on my own that Chazal say in the Gemara that Gadol Talmud, Torah study is greater than other mitzvahs. Talmud may be lidei ma'aseh, because when we learn, that brings to performance of all mitzvahs. It means that when a person it's important to keep all of the mitzvahs in the Torah, but the shmira on keeping us that we should perform all the mitzvahs is if we study the Torah. And if we study the Torah, then we'll keep seeing what it says in it, and we're learning it with intention to keep it. It will remind us, and it will inspire us, and it will bring us more to be able to perform the mitzvahs. The person thinks that they're just going to perform the mitzvahs without learning the Torah. So, number one, they probably won't know what to do really, because they're not studying the Torah. There's so much to know. But also, they're missing in this very important key, that the way to come to keep the mitzvahs is through Torah study. That is the guard. That's the shmira on and the key to coming to perform the mitzvahs is the limud Torah. Now, what does the Torah go on to say that a person gets for this? I'll give the rain in the right time. The land will give its produce. And the fruit trees of the field will give their fruit. Okay? Rashi says that it's going to give it. Be'ita means in a time that people aren't going to be inconvenienced by it. On Friday nights, when people are in their homes, that's when the rain will be, like this past Friday night. Right? And it's the middle of the night that was rain.
And first thing in the morning.
It depends how early you woke up.
Twice it stopped, and then it came again at about 5:36.
So that's like the best time. The time that's going to rain Friday nights, and then there's no inconvenience because people are home and not traveling, and they're not going out to work the next day. And okay, the Eitz Asada and the Yitain Period, even in the end of the Ilani Srak, Rashi says, are even going to get peiros. Even the trees that don't bear fruit normally are going to bear fruit when we get these special brachas. Okay. And then finally, the pasuk says 2 more psukim. The threshing is going to threshing is after the grain is harvested. That's going to take you so long. It's going to be so much to thresh that it's going to take you all the way till the season of harvesting the grapes. And the food dayash is batir. You're going to be busy with the picking the grapes, and then you'll be busy with that until it's time to plant your field again. You have so much that you'll eat you live securely on the land. And Rashi even says, interesting, that the lechem will be misparech b'toich meyav, that person, the food will, a special bracha that nowadays they say that you need. Sometimes you could have ingest vitamins or natural healthy foods, but the body doesn't break it down so well and it doesn't get absorbed in the system so well. But Hashem's saying here that there'll be a special bracha that your body will do amazing things. You'll eat a little bit and the nutritional value will be so great. It'll be misbarech b'tech meyav, that you'll be healthy with only a little bit. What's the special bracha about that? You can eat. You can be satiated with a little bit.
But you still feel hungry.
You won't feel any hungry. You won't misbarech b'meyav, and you won't feel hungry. You'll feel satiated. So, if a person wants to enjoy the food as much as he can, so this is not a bracha, because he can't eat as many hot dogs, because after he ate the first half a hot dog, he's already full, right? So then that's a klola. Now I used to be able to enjoy 3 or 4 hot dogs, and now I can only have half of a hot dog. But if he's leading a spiritual life and he wants closeness to Hashem, and that's his pursuit, so what does he want to be involved in? Eating more? That's what he wants to have to do it. So it's a big bracha for him. It's to be misbarach b'teich meyav, and he doesn't have to be involved too much in the hanais of Olam Hazeh. Interesting. Okay. The pasuk says, "V'nasati shalom ba'aretz." Then there'll be peace. V'shchavtem, you'll lie down in bed. Ve'ein macharid, you won't tremble. There's nothing to fear. Okay. And the pasuk goes on to speak about how you won't be afraid of your enemies. On the contrary, you'll chase them, and they will flee. Okay. Rashi says that maybe you'll say, "I have everything. The Torah already promised food and drink. So what am I missing? If there's no shala, ain't klum, right? V'nasati shala in baret mikan shalom shakol kineged hakol. So a person needs that frame of mind, shalom, that he could appreciate. It's interesting. We would have thought that was already shalom, because Yishavtim levetach vartchem, the pasuk before, and it's saying that you'll feel secure. So a person has nothing to worry about. Yishavtim levetach, and he's living securely. But apparently that was in terms of the type of security, in terms of your parnasa, in terms of having the sustenance, you have nothing to worry about. But the shalom is that you have nothing to tremble out from outside, of something attacking, or some like chayas rois and enemies and that, and you won't be living in fear of what's coming. That's the pasuk. That's pasuk vav. Okay. So what we saw in these sukkim so far is that these brachas are promised from keeping the Torah, and not just keeping the Torah, but studying the Torah, shetu amelim b'Torah. So basically, what Hakadosh Baruch Hu is telling us is that I'm giving you the Torah, and I want that to give you brachas, and I want you to be successful, and I'm giving this all to you for your own benefit. And if you just keep it and you study the Torah, then you'll have all these brachas. Everything will be wonderful, and we'll have this amazing relationship. As to the point where it goes on to say in the pasuk. If you return to Pasuk Tes Ufanisi Aleichem. Pasuk Tes, I'll turn to you. So to speak, as Rashi explains, Hashem says, I'll turn away from all of my other involvements to pay attention to you. Like a person says to his wife, I have a busy schedule, but tonight's your birthday, tonight's the anniversary, tonight, turn off the cell phone, right? I'm paying attention to you. Fanisi Aleichem, HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, I'm going to turn to you. And I'll multiply you, and I'll increase you. And Rashi says here, Basi means that I'll give you a stature, that you'll be able to stand tall and proud. And then I will establish my bris with you. What bris? We already have a bris with the HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Rashi says that this bris that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to give us is not like the bris, like the covenant that we got, and like a bris Arishayna, not like the first bris that we got, Sheifartem Isa, that we didn't keep it properly, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu had to send us into Golus, and He couldn't keep us in our land living securely. No, we're going to have a bris Chadasha, a bris Shalai Tufar that will never be broken. Shenemer v'karati as Beis Yisrael, as Beis Yehuda, bris Chadasha, like a bris, V'gaimer, Rashi brings the Pasuk, and then HaKadosh Baruch Hu tells us that He's going to give us a covenant that I think this is talking in Yemaisa Mashiach, that it's never going to be broken. We're going to have this, and we're not going to have to worry anymore, and it's not going to be, we're ever going to get sent out again. This is going to be something that's going to be an everlasting relationship. And the Pasuk says, interesting, if you turn to Pasuk Yud Aleph, V'nasati mishkani b'seichechem. Okay, coming to finishing up here. V'nasati mishkani b'seichechem, and I'll put my mishkan amongst you. What does that mean? V'nasati mishkani. Rashi says it means the Beis HaMikdash. I'll give you the Beis HaMikdash. The place where my presence rests will be b'sochchem. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is saying that I'm not just going to leave you on the earth and I'll be in heaven. I will be with you. I'll have a place to rest amongst you. And I won't become disgusted with you to have to leave. And I will and it goes on to say that HaKadosh Baruch Hu says will be a certain comfort that you'll have a closeness to me. Rashi says, Ani v'atem atayil etchem b'gan Eden. Amazing what it's speaking about here. But this relationship, this closeness, HaKadosh Baruch Hu taking care of us, this is what comes from learning the Torah with Amelus and with keeping the Torah. So the question is, why dafka with Amelus? Why does it have to come with toiling? Why does that have to be like that? So I saw a discussion about this. Rabbi Zev left. He's a Rav in Eretz Yisrael. He used to be a Rav in Miami, and now he's in Kiryat Matisyahu. What's it called? I think. And it's next to Kiryat Sefer, Moshav Matisyahu. Anyway, so a Talmud of Gifter, and fascinating shurim, and he says a mahalach, and the idea is the following: that when a person toils in Torah, so then it's not just that they're getting what the Torah says, they're getting what the ratzon of HaKadosh Baruch Hu is in the Torah, and they're getting a relationship with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. They're getting the point of the whole Torah. They're coming to that relationship, that they have the Yiras Hashem, and they have the Avas Hashem, and they come to understand the ratzon of Hashem, to connect with Him. So, but if a person learns it superficially, so then it's just laws, don't do this, don't do this. It's intruding in a person's life. Instead of living with the HaKadosh Baruch Hu, it's just a bunch of laws on top, controlling his life and stopping him from doing what he wants to. But if a person says, look, I'm going to take my brain with its own limitations, and I'm going to take my mind and my personality, and I'm going to apply myself to try to understand what the Torah is saying, and not what I want to do, or what I want to think, or what I want to say, but what the Torah is saying, and how I can take out the Ratan of HaKadosh Baruch Hu that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is giving us. That's really getting to where all of these brachas are going to take us to the bris with the HaKadosh Baruch Hu, to the relationship that we can have all these brachas, and that's the great gift HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave us. We should be able to take advantage of it. And I really feel inadequate to speak to you about this and other topics that we've been speaking about, but the only justification is that I could grow through it also, and I need chizuk in these areas, and otherwise it's just like hypocrisy to talk to you about something which halavaya should be there, but we should all be zocheh to take our limud Torah and not just learn, but to appreciate it and to realize what a great gift it is, and to look forward to Shavuot, when Hashem gave it, the day Hashem gave us this greatness and gave us the Torah.